You know something, Robin? I was just wondering. Are we good guys or bad guys? Are robbing the rich to feed the poor?
Rob? That's a naughty word. We never rob. We just sort of borrow a bit from those who can afford it.
Borrow? Boy, are we in debt.
Hello, Internet Rollers, and welcome back to Top Shelf Disney Animation Studios Library! Woo! Woo! We've returned.
Oodle lolly.
What happened? Where did we go?
Hey, you know what? If you think about it, we only took a week off because I did a live episode.
Which I'm not gonna lie. So hello, listeners. I'm Jeff. That's TC over there.
Hi. Welcome back. Good to be back to the Disney Animation Studios podcast, where we discuss a Disney movie a week.
Exactly. Or sometimes once a month, depending upon our schedules. Though, in all fairness, so I was actually on the plane ride for that was 2 episodes ago. Mm-hmm. Or not, sorry, this was last episode for listeners who are listening. I was on the plane ride out to California listening to TC's episode that he recorded.
The live episode. That was
the live episode.
That was an on the whim. I was like, hey, you know what? We should do something. I thought about recording something and then releasing it, but then I saw how many comments and tweets we hadn't gotten around to in the past 20 episodes, so I thought I could play a little catch-up, and it was all right. I want to thank people who watched live, which I streamed through my Facebook page. I realized by doing that, I cut off from the people who follow strictly on Ghost Hat. But I was able to get some questions and comments answered from the Ghost Hat, from the Twitter. From the Twitters. Yeah. But that's awesome. That's all. And the thing is I will try to keep that in mind for the next time that for some reason you're not able to do it. Mm-hmm. And I'm around, because that's happened once or twice now. And had I thought of it back then, I would have totally done a live video. That would have made complete sense and basically done a live episode. Yeah,
so.
yeah.
We'll try to do something like that if there's material that we can fill it in and make it last for 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. If not, then there won't be, and we'll just have a week off again. But if there's something, we'll make it work.
We thank those of you who have the patience to take a week off from us and then come back. So welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back.
I do have another idea. If we ever have to skip a couple weeks again, another bonus style episode we will release, but. That's just it. That's all I'm gonna say. You get a little tease like that, and then you'll just have to wait.
TC with the teasing,
because we don't want you guys to be have a lack of content, right?
No, and I'm very glad that Lindsay and Colin were posting their episodes this week as well. So there was last week, so there was at least new episodes of Top Shelf in one capacity or the other.
Mm-hmm. They did
that was
Argo
airing.
And 12 Years a Slave. Are those the 2 they just did?
Yep, exactly. So it was awesome. That was great. And then you posted your rewatchment.
Yes,
so there was things happening.
I have not really promoted the rewatchment via this podcast in the past. I've plugged it maybe a couple times, but it is my other podcast that I've been doing for 5 years now. Which it's a much more long format show. Anyone who might have gone from this, which typically runs about an hour, over to Rewatchman, which typically runs about 2.5.
Our podcast, very lean. Yeah. TC's podcast, full of awesomeness.
Well, or just very wordy. It's
Well, and then I appear on those episodes every once in a while. Not with you, but unfortunately. But
right, as much it's all franchising. So the Rewatch, we have a second segment where Jeff and Schulze do episodes of the Rewatchman on their way to watching a movie and then responding on the way back. But enough,
which are pretty fun.
Enough plugging the other show. We are here to discuss a Disney movie, Jeff.
Oh, TC, I thought we were just going to talk about other podcasts for 45 minutes, and then I would give my opinion about this movie, and we would end.
I rank it this. Okay, see you next week.
See you guys next week. No, so this week, the movie we watched this week, now that we've started, because the previous episode where we finished off with the Aristocats, we finished off our second bracket.
That's
so
right.
We're also starting a third bracket this week, folks.
We're into the next 10. We are movie number 21.
Exactly. And now, as we've said before, these next 10 movies, they span quite a long distance in Disney time, where the first 20 kind of spread, what was it? It's about 31 years or so.
Yeah. We started with, well, today we watched
Today we watched Robin Hood, the animated 1973 Robin Hood.
And number 10, which we typically don't like to talk too much of what's coming in advance, but the 10th movie on this list is Beauty and the Beast, which came out in 94?
In 91.
91, okay, 91. Yeah, but 73 to 91, that's a big gap of movies.
That's a big gap for 10 movies. You know, it took us 20 movies to get 30 years. It's now going to take us 10 movies to get almost 20. So, it's going to be interesting, and not to give away my feelings on this film later on, but if this movie is an inclination as to what to expect, I'm going to be very sad for a while, unfortunately.
Well, let's just jump right in. When is the last time? You've never seen this?
I have never seen Robin Hood.
Never have seen Robin Hood. Now, yes, you have seen parts of Robin Hood because they recycled quite a bit of animation.
Oh yes, they did, and that party sequence. Where they're all kind of like they're all celebrating. It's not obviously not the end, but it's what is that? It's like 2/3 of the way through.
Yeah,
the film
it's after Robin and Marion escape from the archery tournaments.
Yep, exactly. I'm watching that scene, going, okay, well that's Snow White, okay, oh, and that's what is it? It's was it the Aristocats?
Yeah, and Jungle Book
and Jungle Book, and I'm like, wow, like they're just. This entire sequence just feels like a rehash of previous animated films we've seen so far. And obviously that's because, as we previously discussed, we're in the midst of that whole Xerox era where they're trying to make these movies cheaper and more efficient, get them done quicker. Not done quicker, but they're just trying to get them done and under a much smaller budget. Because this movie only had a budget of about $5 million.
Which is insane.
But
oh my goodness. The shortcuts of animation that Disney is using here is still really well done, despite the fact that we've watched these consistently. We can see, because we've seen the other ones so recently, that's a copy, but I don't think the layman, the normal movie watcher, is going to watch that and go, well, hold on a minute, that's from Aristocats, because when's the last normal movie watcher watched the Aristocats?
Right, exactly. And even so, even back in the day, you got to think about it, pre-home video, obviously pre-VHS, and people owning these movies at, on their own time. Aristocats had came out 3 years prior. And in 3 years' time, even if you were a diehard Disney fan who went out and saw every movie they released, 3 years is a long time for you to remember 3 seconds of an animation bit.
There was no home video at this point.
Yeah. And like you were saying, like, we're watching it consistently. We're watching them usually week after week. So Aristocats for us, even though it really was 3 weeks ago, I could still watch it going, oh, well, that's the party scene in the house, or that's this,
right?
Or that's obviously the racist Chinese cat.
He's a Chinese rabbit now.
Yeah. It's like, you guys aren't really trying hard to cover that up. But like, we could see it, like you said, and the average home viewer nowadays will recognize it a lot more often because we have access to it.
Right.
We can pop them all in at the same night and watch them and be like, well, obviously, yes, this is lifted from that, that's from that, and that's from that. But
that aside, the recycling of animation aside, there is, for me, and I'm interested to see where you land in this, Jeff, but the nuanced animation of some of these characters is really, really neat. Robin himself and how he gestures with his hands and the way he moves his head when he talks and the way the mouths are animated.
I loved when he goes to the archery scene and he's in disguise as like the Pelican, and he leans into Maid Marian, and they have that like long close up of his eyes when she's realizing who it is.
Yeah.
Even that, I went, wow, that was really well done. Actually, like to get some kind of recognition and life out of a 2D animated thing where I just spent 3 minutes talking about how cheap this movie looks in some spots, or like because it's in that era of just trying to make a cheap movie. Like they could still pull that off, and it's very believable.
Yeah, Prince John's animation
so good.
Is very good. And Kaa, who we saw in Jungle Book, is now Hiss, not a boa constrictor anymore. He's just a much smaller grass snake. the gags they did, where he like crosses his arms, his non-existent arms, to rest on,
Right.
and
To rest on like the side of the bucket. Like
Yep.
that was unbelievable.
the gag where he's the balloon. There's some really, and I think that this whole movie has a lot of charm to it because they put a lot of neat, subtle, nuanced gags everywhere, despite
Yeah.
reusing the animation.
I'm not gonna lie, that balloon gag was so ridiculous. I watched it going, that's not how anything works. But
My favorite
okay.
my favorite detail of that is the mouth sound effect for the tail spinning. That they didn't use a
Yes.
propeller sound. They had a guy going.
It's like, oh Disney, Walt's gone, and this is what you're resulting to. But it's pretty damn good. I like what you're doing, guys.
And there's a lot of wordplay in this movie as well that I appreciate. It's all these little jokes that for me make this movie much more charming than something like the Aristocats, which felt a little more shallow. It felt like retreading a lot of ground that we'd seen in other things, as we mentioned. But with Robin Hood here, the fun little details they put in the animation, the fun wordplay that they had, and even the voice acting, just from Robin himself.
Yeah.
That guy got to do how many different disguises with how many different voices. That was really neat.
Right, and there was a moment where I actually thought that they had maybe got a different voice actor for when he's doing the vocal, like when he's doing a different voice, because it sounded different enough that I didn't think it was the same actor.
Yeah.
And then I went, oh wait, no, that is the same guy. That is the same person doing it. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. That he got to kind of, for this animated movie about Robin Hood where it's all animals, which I want to come back to that. It was definitely an acting. They were like you said, they were able to kind of stretch some of their acting chops a bit. I mean, Phil Harris is still just Phil Harris doing the same bear character he's done for the last like 4 movies.
Yeah, it's Thomas O'Malley, it's Baloo. Yeah, it's just Phil Harris. But he is a lovable voice. The voice of Baloo, the voice of Little John. Phil Harris is a charming voice. I like the guy. I'm not gonna lie. I don't mind that it's Baloo again.
I'm starting to think that that Disney was trying to create this bearverse, and it's all like they're all related or they're all ancestors, and it's all just Phil Harris. Phil Harris just does every bear ever in the Disney movies.
It's a nice recurring voice. We also got Sterling Holloway came back again as Sexton, the priest mouse.
The priest mouse. That's who I was trying to find him. I did not recognize him anywhere.
Yeah, that was Sterling Holloway.
Interesting. But I mean, so I really okay. Sorry, it's a quick tangent.
Do it.
Quick side
Tangent.
note. I wanted to do it before I forget. I wanted to ask you regarding like this movie. So this has the honor of being the first fully animal animated movie. Like it's the first Disney movie where there's no humans in it.
Right.
Now Bambi was actually the first one. I should say that. Bambi was the first one that had no humans in it. Man is implied, obviously, since Bambi's mom gets shot,
right,
and you can see shadows and whatnot, but you don't see humans in that. But this is the first one where all the animals are anthropomorphic.
Completely, yeah. This is a humanless story.
Now, why? Why do you think they did? I am legitimately asking this discussion. I don't have an answer to this.
Why go?
But why do you think they did that? Yeah.
Well, let's see. This is the 70s, so this could be there could be a couple factors here. Returning to what Disney thrives at, which is their animal characters versus their human characters. They'd seen success with Lady and the Tramp and 101 Dalmatians and Bambi, if you go back even further. So it could have been a decision made on that count that it's like their animal characters, their cartoon animal characters do better than their human characters. It could also be from the popularity of Watership Down and Wind in the Willows, which was decades earlier. But it even could go so far as Disney Studios was looking for stories to adapt, there is a French book series about Reynard the Fox. And though they eyeballed it as something they wanted to develop, who knows who Reynard the Fox is? That's not even popular enough to be a world-renowned character in the 70s.
Right, right.
So someone was smart enough to say, hey, what about another European folklore? Let's go with Robin Hood and take this idea of Reynard the Fox, who has a ton of similarities to Robin Hood, and capitalize on that popularity. So Robin Hood,
Interesting.
Robin Hood does add to this this collection of Disney movies that are the epitome. This even opens with a book, Robin Hood the book opening up.
Yep. A live action book opening until the first page is flipped and then it becomes animated. But
Right.
it is a live action book in the start, which threw me for a loop. And that's actually one of my. I started listing it as a Disney trope.
Yeah, it is a trope. It is a trope. That's for sure.
It is a trope, unfortunately, along with the recycled animation.
Right. But they did do something, whether it was a deliberate. I wouldn't say it's a meta joke because I don't feel like meta jokes were as in vogue as they are now, but it opens up, the book opens, and there's reading. There's not even someone reading to me. It's just the text on the screen. And then Alan Adale, the rooster, comes in and goes, "Let me tell you a story. There's plenty of versions of Robin Hood, but us in the animal kingdom have one of our own as well." And then he starts telling the story. I thought that was an interesting choice and possibly a send-up on this is how it used to be done. Now we're going to do it a little differently.
Right. We're going a new direction. We're taking that step away from what you know and what you're quote unquote comfortable with, and we're taking it in a new direction. I did the Alan it's Alan Adale, right?
Yeah, Alan
Adale.
Alan of Dale, if that helps you.
Okay.
he's the bard from Robin Hood folklore, so they just adapted him into this omniscient narrator for this movie.
And it was a weird change. Going with what you were saying, when the book opened up and there was text on the screen, I was waiting for the narrator to start.
Long ago, King Richard, right? And it didn't happen.
And there wasn't. And I was like, wait, am I not watching the right version? Like, is there supposed to be some voice here? Is this like a foreign version I have that
how
didn't dub it?
spoiled are we? Because I thought
I
the
know.
same thing. I was like, is there no voice? Do I not have the right
there no
audio
voice?
channels playing right now?
Yeah, I'm like, do I have to read? Mom, this movie's making me read.
I gotta read, Mom.
I don't want to read. That's why I'm watching a movie. But at the same time, once he came on, I did like that. I liked that they had a kind of a nice little shift into a different approach. And then the whole opening credit sequence, which we've seen stuff like this before. Wasn't it 101 Dalmatians that was using like bits of animation from the movie?
Showing us stuff we're going to see. And it's really what they just did was ran cycles of all the characters, which was a parade of showing off. Here's all the characters we've designed for this movie that you're about to see play out this fantastical adventure. An interesting overture, right?
Right.
Actually, I should ask you: did you watch the special edition, the enhanced special edition, where they cleaned it up a little bit, or did you watch an original version? Do you know?
The one that I had was a special edition. It was a cleaned up version.
Okay, I watched the original VHS copy, I had. So it's still dirty, and you can see the cell shadows in a couple of the spots. But looking at it, I could see, boy, cleaned up, this movie would be even more beautiful. Like I could see that it's the hand drawn detail, it's the pencil lines. I do like that. But I could see it could stand for a cleanup, which is what you watched.
Which is what I watched, and I will say this: the backgrounds in this movie were very beautiful.
Oh,
They reminded me of like children's books from when I was younger. They remind me of that type of drawing and that type of just backgrounds to it. Just the way that they're colored and the ink lines and the characters that are on the front of them. I feel like you could pause at least 3 or 4 dozen moments in this movie, and it would just look like a picture in a book.
Yeah,
in a fairy tale book.
And it was the design on the castles and even subtle design elements that you don't take notice of because they're not obvious. But something as simple as Friar Tuck and Father Sexton's church is being held up on the side by a big log, like the clock tower is tilting, and they could have easily have made that a bit like they did in Sword of the Stone where Merlin's tower is rocking, but it's not. It's just a design element in the location that's very detailed.
Yep, and going back to kind of what you were saying earlier, some of the animation choices that they chose with the characters, I really dug. Oh my goodness, I'm spacing on the king's name.
Prince John.
Prince John,
Or King Richard, who was the
King Richard,
the real,
who's the brother,
yeah.
who was the real king. Yeah. So Prince John, like I loved what they did with him. I loved that his crown doesn't actually
doesn't
fit.
the sucking. I want my mummy.
Yeah. I love that for a character that's a total like slap in the face to Prince John, who was always kind of hinted at being the lesser of the the leaders,
a pampered baby, right?
Yep. And the fact that like his crown doesn't fit is a nice kind of symbolic nod to him not being the true leader of the land, because his crown doesn't even fit his head correctly, and obviously that's not supposed to be what he's doing, and it was a lot of fun. It's like I'm getting to this point now that we've watched so many of these that again, going back to like that feeling of recycled animation, there's definitely a lot of these have to be a conscious decision to be like little nods to previous Disney movies.
Yeah,
because
there's been enough of them now, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because again, like you were saying, the snake. Oh my goodness, Sir Hiss. Him having the hypnotic eyes, just like from the Jungle Book, feels like that was more. And he only does it that one time.
Yes,
in the entire movie, right? Like
it didn't. He did imply that he hypnotized King Richard to make him go on the Crusades. He said that. He's like, it's you tricked me, or you made me hypnotize your brother, so he'd go off on that ridiculous crusade.
That's right.
I have to go back to your why are these animals instead of live action, right? This movie feels like a young reader book for a much more complex mythology. Robin Hood is this legend. He's a legend of literature that goes for centuries. I mean, how Robin Hood shows up in A Once and Future King, the first novel by T.S. White, and a young reader book. It's like if you got the Star Wars Episode 7 Young Reader Edition, it would be a simplified, not a patronizing version, but a simpler, easier to understand version for adolescents. And to paint this picture of the legend of Robin Hood with animals, with simplified versions of his legend, I feel it creates an access for kids to be interested in this legend of literature. I know it worked for me. I don't know if it was this movie or that my librarian in elementary school read us the Legend of Robin Hood, the novel, but I went through a Robin Hood phase. There was a time where I got every Robin Hood Lego I could get and had made my own bow and arrow. Like I was Skippy the rabbit from this movie.
So there is something very interesting. I was looking at the cast list of the animals that they like. What animal is what character?
Right.
And I definitely do see a connection to the character and the animal that is portraying that character.
Okay.
Because you do kind of see. Okay, so Robin Hood's a fox. And that makes sense because Robin Hood was supposed to be cunning and,
sly,
and fast and sly and very quick and just like, oh, okay, makes sense. That's kind of the fox. That's the fast character, but has got kind of a stylized to him. Little John's a bear, and that was always kind of the gag with Little John was that he was a big kind of giant, like just strong man. Well, the bear makes sense. Alan-a-Dale being a rooster makes sense because they're supposed to get, roosters are oftentimes like get your attention and bring you in and, wake you up like they're all crowing in the morning.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Like, and then like the lions, like Prince John and King Richard being lions, that makes sense because they're the kings of the jungle, or they're the heads of all of them. So of course those two have to be lions. That makes sense,
right?
So it's and the Sheriff Nottingham being a wolf, because he's such a bad guy and he's evil, and wolves are supposed to be kind of bad and evil, and it's an interesting. That does make sense. I still. And I guess from what you were saying earlier about wanting to make like a version of Renard the Fox, but obviously it just translated eventually down the line into it becoming Robin Hood. Makes sense. That definitely does make sense. It's just so weird it took so long for it to happen.
To make a Robin Hood animated movie?
Yeah,
Yeah,
It feels like it should have been a lot sooner than this,
But
but
then at the same time, 21 movies is not a lot of movies.
it's not a lot of movies.
And
They're like, oh yeah, we got around our 20th or so, then we started making it. It's cool, you know.
really, I'm glad that they did it when they did it, because this was a nice transition, because Aristocats did I felt the lack of Walt. I could feel the lack of Walt Disney, and as we were kind of criticizing Aristocats, it was pointed out that maybe the movie suffers because the production company was sad and suffering the loss of Walt, and that's why the movie felt as flat as it did. Whereas Robin Hood was kind of the rally. That's okay.
Right.
All right, come on, shake it off, guys. Let's put our heart and souls in this movie and make a movie that for Walt. Let's put some effort into this one. Not that they didn't put effort before, but you know what I mean. And
Right.
yeah, I had they done it sooner, it might have been more like Sword in the Stone, which Sword in the Stone, for its faults and for its charms, it doesn't hold up as well as a lot of the other 21 movies we've watched up to this point. There are literary scholars who put this version of Robin Hood on the list of some of the greatest adaptations of the character.
Really?
And that's crazy. So I the Rewatchmen, we did an episode of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
The Kevin Costner one?
Yes. And in researching that movie to discuss it on the show, I got into reading a lot of lists of the best versions of Robin Hood and some of the worst versions of Robin Hood. And this animated version of Robin Hood is considered one of the better ones, higher on a lot of lists, because it captures the legend of Robin Hood. It doesn't try to ground it in any sort of reality like the Ridley Scott Russell Crowe one, and it plays more in the fantasy of the legend of Robin Hood. He steals from the rich, gives to the poor, charming, cool guy. One of the original superheroes, right?
Right.
And seeing this movie open that door to an interest in Robin Hood for me as a young kid, and for others as well, it works. I think that this is a great introduction into the legend of Robin Hood, and it pays a really good homage to the Errol Flynn Robin Hood and His Merry Men, which is considered the best version of Robin Hood.
Oh yeah, Errol Flynn's a fantastic Robin Hood. Oh man, and because that is a good point, because by watching this movie, I did find myself sitting there at least a couple of times, because I have never. This isn't a secret. I've told a lot of people I know when it gets brought up, but I've never been a huge like medieval era or like fantasy like medieval fantasy magic type lover. So, like I'm not, except for Harry Potter. Harry Potter was the first, which that's not even medieval, but Harry Potter was like the first, like, ooh, there's magic users. That's the first time I ever grew interested in something like that. But like I don't care for. I've never been like a fan of Robin Hood. I've watched it. I love Robin Hood Men in Tights. I freaking love that movie to death.
You know what?
That's because
you cannot watch Robin Hood Prince of Thieves anymore because Men in Tights is so damn good at making fun of it.
Yep. And I watched Robin Hood Men in Tights prior to watching the Prince of Thieves.
Oh no! And then, so that just ruined it.
And then I went back to Prince of Thieves and went, this isn't nearly funny enough. But I was watching it going, oh, that's what they're making fun of. Oh, that's what they're doing. Oh.
I get that reference. I get that reference.
And it just made Men in Tights just 9 times better, or 10 times better at that point. But no, sorry, I digress. The whole, like, I've never been a huge fan of that era, so I've never read Robin Hood, like the actual book or any of the versions. And I've seen the Errol Flynn version. I've seen obviously this version now, and I've seen the ones I mentioned before.
Right.
But watching this movie, I did find myself kind of being like, I wonder what the like full length version of this story does. Like that's what brought me, like it did its job in it being, like you were discussing, it being an entry into this story.
Mm-hmm. It's a good good gateway.
Right, and it definitely did. It made me gonna go like, I wonder what the actual story does. Like what more is there? What other stuff is there that this movie's not telling me? Or they kind of made a reference to that by a line, but in the book it's actually all this that they talk about. Like that sort of thing.
Something that this movie did successfully, in my opinion, and you can disagree if you want, is that this it plays out in chapters. That this is one chapter after another, and each section of this movie plays out with a very clear beginning of a chapter and an end of a chapter. They advance through time. The songs the songs play good interludes to one chapter after another, where you open up with Little John and Robin Hood walking through the forest and stealing from Prince John, and then you get the Skippy's birthday and shooting his arrow and meeting Maid Marian, and then you get the tournament, and you have the escape to the woods, and you have the party, and you have the taxes being raised, and it plays out really nicely in these chapters with a pretty cohesive transition from one chapter to the next. And sticking with that idea that I'm offering up of a simplified version. Now, where I said it was a young reader's version, I don't know, Jeff, what do you think? It feels to me that there's more adult references in this than previous movies we've watched by killing character, like say, off with his head, and did Robin die, and the threat of violence, and the romance and falling in love, and even Hiss getting drunk, and it plays a fine balance between the colorful animal characters doing funny, interesting things for the kids while still paying respect to the adult legend that is Robin Hood. I don't know. How did you feel about that balance?
That is a good point. It definitely did feel like a much more grown-up film in a lot of spots. And I don't know if that's just because of the source material, like you were saying. Like, is it because it's Robin Hood, and Robin Hood kind of isn't not necessarily a kid's tale? It's a fable, but it's still kind of, it's more adult than some of the other ones that we've stumbled across, like with Cinderella and Snow White and all those. It definitely does do a good balance, like you were saying. It does a fine job of towing that line between but it not being so adult that kids are turned off.
Right, because they still end up locking up the Prince John and his men in they're crushing rocks in the black and white prisoner outfits, and that's still very kid-friendly, cartoonish, silly.
I'm not going to lie, when the castle was on fire, I was half expecting Prince John to be chucked off the top of that spire and falling to his doom. I was waiting for it. I was on my tropes section going,
is he going to fall?
And the villain falls to his death. And the villain is running around, his castle's on fire. He's not dead.
Prince John is quite a different villain than anyone we've seen. He is such a big brat. His whiny, oh no, I want my mommy, and oh yes. Like, he's so he's so funny. I like him. He has machinations of being evil, but if you compare him to say like Cruella de Vil, she's a crazy mean lady. Yep. Prince John is just an idiot.
He's an idiot with a sidekick in Sir Hiss that actually Sir Hiss feels more like the villain in the movie. It's the sidekick that comes off as more of a bad guy.
He's the competent one, right? He's at least as competent as he can be while trying to be a sycophant for Prince John, who has all the money.
And you could very well argue that there's technically three bad guys between Prince John, Sir Hiss, and the Sheriff of Nottingham.
Sheriff of Nottingham, that's right.
Oh, yes. More Western actors in this movie than British actors, which I think is so strange.
It's weird. I wonder if I'm sure there's trivia out there if they had been working towards a Western themed movie and had all these voice actors on retainer or something. They're like, hey, let's just stick them in the Robin Hood cast. But at the same time, that might have been a way, Disney's masterful way of appealing to the whole family in casting all these well-known Western television and film actors for voice acting, so that we can drag Grandpa and Dad to this movie, but they'll get a kick out of seeing the voices they recognize coming out of these cartoon characters.
Right, because I mean, it was taking this very British European fable character and pulling him into, again, because we're in the middle of the 70s at this point. The closest thing, and like what's popular right now in the early 70s in America, it's the like Clint Eastwood westerns. Like it's
Yeah.
the spaghetti westerns that are kind of having this kind of brief resurgence. The spaghetti westerns, not the John Wayne westerns.
Right. You're not
obviously.
looking at the Ford westerns. No, you're looking at the John Wayne. You're looking
Right, exactly.
the contemporary, the more contemporary Sergio Leone. Sergio Leone.
It's tough to say on a Monday.
Yeah.
While we've been talking,
But
but yeah, it's a really good point you brought up. It's like because now what we're doing is now we're opening it up. We're opening this film and this concept to a wider audience because it's more Americans. It's a lot of Americans. Not saying that we're country racist. That's not the right term, but whatever.
Nationalist.
Nationalist. That's the. I know there was a term, not the one that I just made up. Country. Racist. That's weird.
Countryist.
Countryist.
I like countryist better. Hashtag countryist. That's the thing.
Country. But it does sound like we're fans of country music. I'm not sure if it's better or worse. No offense to anybody who likes country music. I do too. Don't worry.
How dare you?
I like Pat Buttram. That's my thing. It still comes back to Pat Buttram. But no, I wonder if that was like you were saying. I wonder if that was that has to be a subconscious decision
Or a
to
conscious decision.
Or a conscious decision to be like, no, this opens it up to the American audience because now they won't see it as as a British story. If they were all British actors talking, now they're seeing it as this is okay. They're okay. I know that one. Oh, I know that character. I know that actor. It sounds like an old Western tale, and they can relate it better to the American.
Yeah, perhaps they learned their lesson from Aristocats, which was so distinctly a French story. Mm-hmm. Now, 101 Dalmatians was a British story, sure, and there have been other films that are specific to a culture, but Aristocats is very distinctly French, and that might have turned off some moviegoers to create this British folklore and injecting it with a lot of American and contemporary references. There's a whole football scene in this.
A whole football scene that plays on Wisconsin.
That's right. As soon as it played, I was like, oh my gosh, this is on Wisconsin, Grand Old Badger State. And Candace looks at me and goes, I know this as the Robin Hood football scene song. Thank you very much.
Well, you're not from Wisconsin, obviously. I don't know why I'm doing a southern accent when I do that.
But there's the football scene. There's train noises when
yes.
who's driving this umbrella. And even some of the music. Well, you have the folk singer in Alan Adale, right? But some of the action sequence music is more contemporary, and so it's this. It doesn't date it as much as say Jungle Book and Aristocats did in choosing to theme some of their references so solidly in the 60s and 70s. This one, though it's these weird contemporary at the time references, it fits within the tone and style of this movie. It didn't take me out of it too much, is what I'm saying.
No, it definitely, and that was the thing. It threw me off at first, but looking back at it, it definitely did not take me out. Okay, sure, because I think there's so many movies nowadays that don't, especially like animated or more kid friendly ones that don't concern themselves with being 100% accurate like that. There's definitely movies that concern themselves with being 100% accurate, and people complain when they're not 100% accurate. But the ones that are just like, the time, it doesn't matter. It's, we're making more modern references in a thing that took place in the 70s.
Yeah.
Whatever. No one cares. It's funny. It's entertaining. And that's the point. When the movie doesn't take it seriously, then the audience can't take it seriously.
And the references were built in context. Right? When there are out-of-context references in, I'm going to say specifically animated movies, that will date a movie so frickin' fast. Go back and watch that first Shrek. Go back and watch Shrek 2. Those references are so specific to the year that they came out that an American Idol reference or a dating game reference from, let's go to the mirror, she's this and this, oh, princess. Yep. Those jokes do not hold up. Whereas I feel the contemporary references in Robin Hood here, maybe we're beyond them so much that they don't even feel contemporary.
Right.
That they don't feel as detrimental to the film itself. But I'd like to give a credit to the filmmakers that they knew not to build the story around references, but put the references in context to the story.
Well, TC, in the year 2032 or 37, when Shrek 1 is as old as Robin Hood is to us now,
We'll see.
We'll see if those references are just funny now or we just don't even care anymore. We'll have to wait and see. We will have to wait and see. I will say this. So one thing we have not talked about yet is we briefly mentioned the fact that Alan Adale was singing, open up the movie with a song.
Right.
There's a handful of songs in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite, honestly, and I guess I'm a sucker for sad, slow songs, but Not in Nottingham.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes the good outweighs the bad, but not in Nottingham. That's a great song.
Was a great song. And I never... So this is a movie where I did not recognize any of the music in this.
You did recognize one without realizing it, and I'll tell you in a moment.
It's the opening bit. Because I know the hamster dance.
It's the hamster dance. It's the
which is, but see, even that was, I recognize that because it's a part of a completely different,
right.
ridiculous thing.
In terms of the film, you had no point of reference, so
I had no point. Like, at least in like the Jungle Book, like I knew the bare necessities. I've always recognized one of the songs from a movie that I have not seen.
Yeah, and now here you go. So Not in Nottingham, that you like that song, huh?
I liked that song. It was again. I'm sometimes a sucker for sad, slower songs like that. I can't help it. But it was a very pretty song. It was well performed, and it was very emotional, and it worked completely well in the spot in the film that it is in.
Yeah, I had forgotten how good the music is in this. It's not legendary. It's not these classic Disney songs that you immediately think of, but it's the Little John Robin Hood Walk Through the Forest. I hum that all the time. I hum the do 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 do. I hum that all. It's like whenever I stay with our friend Chad. At some point on my trip, one of us will be whistling that in the morning.
But I guess this goes to prove, like, there are so many Disney films that have at least a memorable song that came out of them.
Yeah.
But then, are we in that era of these movies that the songs that are used aren't necessarily, like, it's because it's that era of Disney where Disney kind of fell off a little bit and is hitting that harder time. So maybe it was not the music that became so wide known. Because once we freaking hit Little Mermaid again. Little Mermaid through Lion King, that's 4 or 3 movies right there that have so many pieces of music in it that everybody recognizes and everybody knows.
It may be because it's the era we grew up in, the 90s, right?
True.
Watching those movies. Or it may be this simple fact. The Disney animated musical as we know it was not defined until the 90s. That Renaissance era defined the Disney musical. Because I watching the 21 movies we've seen so far, Jungle Book has some amazing musical numbers in it, and that definitely makes it stand out. But we have not truly experienced the Disney musical. Cinderella, yeah, I'd say Cinderella and Pinocchio, they have their places, but when the general audience thinks of an animated Disney musical, we haven't seen that yet. It is the Renaissance era that defined Disney musicals as we know them.
Right, because a lot of these movies, especially the ones we've seen so far, when there's songs, it might be a character singing it. But we've definitely seen a ton of the movies that it's just the chorus.
Yeah.
It's the chorus that's singing the song. It's not any physical person in the movie. Or when it is, it's more or less just it's just one or two. It's maybe a character, but you don't see them singing it on screen. It's more of just a song that's playing in accompaniment to the score,
right?
Basically, like it's just an extension of the score with lyrics.
Yeah, Maid Marian's song "Love," which was nominated for an Oscar, she doesn't sing it. It's a narrative musical number. When her and Robin are having their stroll through the woods, she doesn't sing it to him. It's just a song being sung while we see it.
Right, so it's almost more like it comes off like more of like a thought. It's like this is just in her head of her thinking what's going on or
can you read
what's
my
happening
mind?
Yeah, and we cut over to Robin, and he's just like, "Is she singing?" Why is she shut up?
No,
I'm sorry, British accent. Shut up.
no, Robin wouldn't do that. He's a good guy. So
He's a fox.
Actually, here's an interesting piece of this film, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the very first lines of dialogue between Little John, and Robin Hood is Little John asks, "You ever wonder, are we the good guys or the bad guys?" And what proceeds is built around that thematic question. Is Robin Hood a hero or a villain in the fact that he steals, right? And it's why he's stealing that makes him this legendary hero. He wasn't stealing from the rich to make himself wealthy. He lives in the woods with drying his clothes on a line and burning food on a spit and fire. He was not using any of that money for his own material gain. He was just helping the little people. The thematic question of are we the good guys or the bad guys is what precedes is the answer to that question all the way to the very end. And that's
because
good script writing.
It's good script writing because it's one of those questions that, depending upon your point of view or the point of view that you're looking at it from, changes the answer to that question. The entire film, from Prince John's point of view or the kingdom's point of view, Robin is a thief, and they're doing, and Prince John and the kingdom are doing their job. Yeah, they might be doing it a little harsher than they're supposed to, but they are doing their job. They are, they're ruling the kingdom. He's the head, and this guy's going around robbing our stuff, taking our stuff, and then giving it away to other people. Yeah. And obviously, yes, the moral core to this whole thing is that Robin is the good guy. He's doing what Prince John. Well, you can't argue that he's doing what Prince John should. Prince John is just being a giant tool bag,
right?
And
Robin Hood's ends justify his means, right?
Right, exactly. So, but that's a good point. I didn't catch that was the first. That was how the movie starts.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's a great moment when Prince John is sleeping and they do the jailbreak, right? And then Robin's like, I'm going to go visit the treasury. And at first thought, it's like, well, don't push your luck. Just get these people out of here.
Right.
Well, that's what Robin is doing. He is getting them out of their dire straits. He's getting them out of prison and out of poverty. And he gets all that money from Prince John to give to the people, even going so far as to get that last bag, which is like, you're still pressing your luck. It does not come across as greed at all. He loves the thrill of the chase, and he obviously loves acting the role and being the hero, but it's all for genuinely good reasons. There's nothing cocky. Well, I don't know. He is cocky, but there's nothing cruel in Robin. Everything he's doing is for the good of the people, which is the legend of Robin Hood.
Right. Yeah, you could very well argue that he is a little cocky because he's so confident that no, I got this. I got no worries. I'll get that last bag of gold. It doesn't matter.
Here comes the sheriff. Don't let him see you. Oh, watch this. Oh, the sheriff of Nottingham. Good to meet you, sir. Good to meet you.
He's flat out uber cocky, but he's just because he's very confident that he'll take care of us. It's nothing that you have to worry your particular head over.
He is the epitome of a swashbuckling rogue. Robin Hood himself is, as demonstrated and in this film, that he is this roguishly handsome, charming, swashbuckling adventurer.
Which is why it's so perfect that Errol Flynn played him back in the silent era films, because that's kind of the roles that Errol Flynn did really well, was the swashbuckling heroes.
Look at this smile.
So I do want to bring up one little thing that I found, TC,
Sure.
as we're hitting this 48-minute mark. I wanted to bring up a theory that I stumbled across for this movie.
Okay.
We've in the past, it's been a while since we've really kind of done a lot of these, just because it's not always so easy, especially, and I know this is not going to be something that is going to be easy to find in these next 6 or 7 movies. But for this one, I did stumble across an interesting theory that will connect to a future movie we watch on this podcast.
Okay.
But quite a ways down the line, as in number 55.
Oh.
So it's a ways down. But
okay.
Exactly.
Keep going.
Yep. I bet you know where we're going with this. The theory is that Robin Hood and Zootopia, the animated film that came out just a few years back, are in the same universe.
Totally. There's
there's
keep going,
there's
keep
the
going.
Disney there's the Disney universe theory, which I know we brought up in a previous episode, where like all the Disney movies connect to each other, or like the Pixar theory is one of those, and it's getting more popular with some of the other like the princess ones about how like Tangled and Frozen and the Little Mermaid and like the Jungle Book can all potentially all be connected into the same world because it's the same time frame and characters.
Yeah, which holds a little bit of water, but when you try to add in other movies in the Disney canon library, it falls apart.
Right, it falls apart. So somebody had asked the co-directors regarding Who Made Zootopia whether or not Robin Hood would be in the same universe, basically saying if they had gone to the Zootopia universe and had gone back in time, would they have ended up in Robin Hood? And it's the current theory that, yes, that's exactly what would have happened, because in Zootopia, so between the two movies, Nick from Zootopia, so the main fox character of Zootopia, and Robin have a lot of similarities
they're
in
totally
character.
Very similar template to their Robin's a little taller, but
But then you get Judy from Zootopia and Skippy, the little bunny rabbit that's going after.
Duh, yeah.
That's And then we have the mayor of Zootopia and King Richard are both lions. And funny enough, the mayor's name in Zootopia is Mayor Leodore Lionheart.
Oh my God! Yes, this is not a theory. This is a fact of life.
This is a fact. Like, it's gotta be.
The history of Zootopia goes back to Robin Hood. That's
because that would basically mean like whatever. Like the mayor of Zootopia is technically like the great grandson of King Richard the Lionheart. Like in that it's all just this continuation. The bad guys employ wolves as their henchmen, like in both films. It's this kind of the current fan theory is that the Robin Hood Zootopia connection, it's in its own little like pocket universe where it's all just anthropomorphic animals.
Yeah.
It's that universe.
Totally.
It's not in the same as Toy Story or Monsters Inc. or any of those other films or any of the other animated or animal-based animated films, because those movies obviously still could take place in the human world. Bambi, even though we don't see humans, obviously still takes place in the human world.
Right. The most I'd give Bambi any connection to. Well, actually, we've tried to connect it to a couple like Who Killed Bambi's Mom, but I'd even go so far as to say it could potentially be connected to Lion King.
Right. Yes. See, that would be more like those movies feel more accurate to be in the same world. Whereas Robin Hood, because it is all animals, there's no humans in this world, but these are the quote unquote humans of the world.
Right.
But yeah, so I thought it was kind of fun. That theory was probably one of the more. Obviously, there's nothing to hold the candle against it, but the co-directors of Zootopia definitely love the idea that
that's a great. I like that theory. That's one of the best ones I've heard yet.
Isn't it? See, I was pretty happy about that one when I stumbled across it. I went, yes, this one I'll buy. Like, I'm okay with this one. So. But yeah, so that was my theory about it. I just wanted to bring that up to let you know and let the listeners at home understand it. But I like that you knew where I was going.
Yeah, well, I mean, you said 55, so I quickly did the math in my head. I'm like, oh, Moana's 56. What came before that? Was Zootopia? Oh God. Well, I'm wondering, of all the movies we've watched so far.
Oh no.
Okay. Those who may not be aware, Jeff already has his number one, and the whole goal of this 10 is going to be, can Beauty and the Beast be dethroned as the number one from this 10?
True.
And Jeff, I want you to be honest. I want you to challenge yourself to see if any of these next 9 movies can beat Beauty and the Beast for you. So right now, we know what your number one is.
This is very true.
But of all the movies we've watched, where do you put the rest of them?
Well, so for the sake of the podcast, because obviously we haven't watched Beauty and the Beast yet, so I can't say it's going to be my number one.
I was going to allow it.
Though it will be my number one, guys. I hope you don't mind. This is my number one right now, just because it's the start of a new list.
Those who may be new to the cast, we group these in 10, as we've referenced before, just so we don't have to rank 1 through 56. We are ranking 1 through 10, 11 through 20, and now 21 through 30. This being the first one, it's easy to place it as our number one.
As our number one. Now, I will say this, I was about 30 minutes into this movie, and I had already checked to see how much time I had left.
Ooh, okay.
So this movie was for me. So since we don't have to explain why it's our number ones right now, I'm gonna use this as my chance to just kind of give you my general opinion of it. It's a fine movie. We've talked about a lot of very positive aspects of it, and I've actually maintained a very positive attitude towards this film while recording this episode. I don't hate this movie by all means. There's been movies we've already watched that I hate a lot more than this movie. I will just leave that at that, everybody. But it's still the animation's beautiful. I loved a bunch of the songs in it. The way it looked was just great. I wasn't really like set on the movie. I was like, okay, I watched it. I probably won't ever watch it again, unfortunately. Like, it's among those on my list right now. It's, you know what? Again, I think it's the era. I think it goes back to the fact that I don't like these types of stories. That's the same across the board. I don't like medieval fairy tale, or excuse me, I don't like medieval
fantasy. I get what you're saying.
Fantasy-esque.
This is not a genre or an era that you are interested in.
I'm right, exactly.
Where I am interested. So it's very clear to see that I did enjoy this movie, and you less so. I don't think you hated it, right?
I did not hate this movie because, like I said, there are other movies we have watched that I really do not like more than this movie. But this one was fine. There was a lot of very positive things, and this is one of those movies that when we get into like higher up or like with more films in our list, is going to be one of those where it's going to be like, well, but Robin Hood had this, and this, so that's got to still be higher than this movie because of, for whatever reason. I'm just guessing, honestly.
So this kind of sets the standard of the movies to follow. Making this our number one, it now becomes a question of, is it better or worse than what follows, right?
What follows.
The whole idea of listing these is for that very reason. Right.
So it was interesting. Like I said, I don't know what it is about it. I don't know if it maybe I was just distracted. I'm still on West Coast time from my trip, which I've been home now for 3-4 days. I don't know why I'm still on West Coast time, but I'm tired. I don't know if it was because of that. I don't know if it was because I was just not in the mood to watch a movie yesterday when I watched it.
We've discussed this before, that our personal lives are going to affect how we feel about a film. That just goes for film in general. When you sit down to watch something, what you're carrying into that viewing is going to affect your viewing of it. It kind of plays into, to stick with the literature theme of this movie and whatnot. There were books that I was required to read in high school. Jeff, I'm sure there were books you were required to read, and I bet 9 times out of 10, like any good American student, you skimmed it, you learned what you could, you read the study guide, and somehow passed with just enough points.
Yep, exactly.
But later in life, going to read something that you aren't forced to read is going to change your perspective on it. So Huckleberry Finn, I've had to read that book 3 times. I had to read it twice. A third time, I really willingly read it and was like, wow, this is actually a good book.
When we're not being forced to read it, you can look at it and appreciate it in a different light.
Not that you're being forced to watch Robin Hood, but in a sense you kind of are, because we've chosen to watch the movies as we watch them. So you're sitting down to watch this as scheduled, and surely your trip is still on your mind, and I don't blame you for feeling one way or another about it. But that's the fun of viewing these now, whether it's a first time viewing for Jeff or a new viewing for me. I don't think I enjoyed this as much as I have in the past, because I did grow up this being one of the movies I watched multiple times. Like I said, I had a Robin Hood phase, but this was good, and I found some new things to enjoy about it. The little detailed animation techniques that they used in Robin Hood, in Prince John, and I liked it. I like this movie. I like it. So there you go.
Good response. Good answer, TC.
Would you play this for kids? Is this a movie that you feel holds some sort of lesson that kids could attach to, or could this be a gateway for? Would you play this for your nieces?
I would play it for my nieces if they were in a spot where they're like, we're gonna, they want us to, or we're gonna learn about like Robin Hood, or we're gonna learn about this era of European history, or something like that, because it definitely is, as we previously discussed, it definitely works well as a gateway and as kind of as a kid friendly entry point into these types of stories and these types of fables, because it still has enough of the adult in it from the source material while still being very kid friendly, despite the fact that they're like off with his head and all that. Because even with those moments into it, for a kid is going to just ask a question.
Right.
They're going to like, well, what does off with his head mean? Like, what do you mean? Like, if they didn't understand from context clues, they would still ask about it. So if anything, the movie, while there is definitely adult moments in it for kids, it will open up conversation. It'll open up questions, which is key for any movie to help educate children, or anybody for that matter, is to let there be questions.
I agree. I think this is a great entry film to a genre of film or literature that you could offer this up to a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, and gauge their interest in, or they might already have an interest in swords and sorcery, and you don't quite want to get them into Lord of the Rings or something a little heavier. This could be an entry point into that fantasy. That's not really fantasy, of that action adventure genre. And,
and you said a really good point right there, where this is for a slightly older kid. This wouldn't be a movie I would show like a 5-year-old.
No, I don't think it would engage them as much as someone who's willing to sit down and pay attention. This is a good entry film. That if they walk away asking questions about the character, you could potentially point them at a book series or a television series that plays in this realm. Or if they're interested in the swords and the arrows and whatnot, then you could guide them towards something like Pirates of the Caribbean, which is a little more adult, a little heavier, but it still is a logical step away from something as family friendly as this animated Robin Hood is.
Right. And if they just really love the medieval times, boom, right into Game of Thrones.
Right into Game of Thrones. Here you go, kids. Sit down.
Watch these.
Oh, God. What is happening?
Watch all these people murder and have sex and swear. Let's do it.
You're a bad man, Jeff. You're a bad man. Well, I am curious to see what our listeners might think of Robin Hood, and I look forward to reading the comments that you might be able to. If you're listening to this, you can head over to facebook.com/topshelfpod, and there will be a posting for this episode that we'd love to get some response on, hear what you have to say. Or if you want to tweet at us, you can tweet at me at TC's Big Head. You can tweet at Jeff at Random Bell, and we like to engage with you guys. I actually do have a couple comments for today that aren't specifically about Robin Hood, but just in some tweets that I got and comments that I spotted that I thought were worth having a quick conversation with you.
Okay.
This is from a new listener. I have not seen her comment before. Diane Canale, she commented on the Facebook post for Peter Pan.
Oh, okay.
Now, you and I, Jeff, we gave Tinkerbell quite a hard time. I think that that's putting it mildly.
Mildly, yeah.
But Diane points out that she thinks many people vilify Tinkerbell without thinking about all that Peter Pan puts her through. Right? Because Peter uses and takes advantage of Tink's obvious affections, and as far as Tinkerbell acting like a jealous girlfriend, Diane feels that she has every right to these feelings because Peter uses her, right? And he uses her to bring other girls to Neverland. How is she going to act? She's being mentally abused by him, and physically she spanks him, or he spanks her to get the Tinkerbell dust out of her.
That's a very good point.
So Diane, she's not saying that what Tinkerbell did was right, but it's undeniable.
There's more of a justification behind why she's doing it,
and that
is a very good point.
And something that you and I didn't think of it until she pointed out. Like, you're right, she is kind of being tortured by this guy.
Then she just needs to leave.
Yeah, she's reached this breaking point.
All right, good point though. That's a fantastic point. I missed that post. Yeah. When was that? July? Oh, I was off gallivanting.
So thank you, Dan, for commenting on that. I love that other perspective, right?
Yes, and that's what we look for.
Yeah,
that is exactly what we look for.
Let's see, and then a quick note of Thomas. He threw up his top 10 from the second set of 10, which he says is, for his money, it's the until the 90s the most fun. The 10 we just watched.
Okay. Yep.
He has Alice in Wonderland as his number one, which is I love the difference.
You people, I tell you.
He has Sword in the Stone as number 10.
Thomas, I mean that with all fun. Trust me, sir.
That's the fun of these films, is that nearly every one of these, I don't think all of them, because it's not fair to those. There's certain films on here that people just aren't aware of because they've not had the classic history as some of these others. But it's nearly all these movies is someone's favorite. I just had a conversation I was at Comic-Con for the weekend and had a great conversation about this podcast in particular with a listener and a couple of just friends. And this new friend I made in the discussion of the podcast was really excited that we did Aristocats recently because that's her favorite Disney movie. And I didn't make fun of her for that, but I did think it's that neat aspect that nearly all these movies is somebody's favorite, and that's pretty cool.
That is very true, and I know definitely going along with what you're saying. I've talked to a couple of my friends and a couple of people that I've seen over the years, and we're in the era. Actually, our friend Karen, I know this is the era that she likes a lot of these movies. Actually, I think Robin Hood is a favorite of hers. Mm-hmm. I'm really hoping I'm not misquoting that. Shank will tell me if I'm wrong. But if she listens to this episode, how dare she not listen to my show? But no, it's a good point, and it all comes down to just. It's who we were, or it's what era we grew up in. It was our influences on film. Me personally, I didn't watch a lot of movies from the late 60s through the 70s.
Right, so you have
until
no love
recent.
For these.
Yeah, I watched movies from the 20s, 30s, and the 40s with like Abbott and Costello and the Three Stooges and the Marx Brothers and like Jimmy Stewart and Cary Grant. Like I watched a lot of those movies, and then I've watched a lot of 80s through the modern day movies, but I kind of skipped that like 50s through the 70s until I got much, much older when my tastes had changed.
Yeah, and now you're probably finding these gems you didn't know about.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, this was a movie? I didn't know this was a movie. Like, this is a fantastic film. I like Some Like It Hot was a movie that I never watched until the podcast. The AFI podcast, we had to watch it for that. Mm-hmm. I love that movie. That movie was brilliant.
Great movie.
Plus, somehow Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon make somewhat decent-looking women. I don't know how that's even possible. Tony Curtis makes a very pretty-looking woman. I'm just going to throw that out there. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, he's got very good cheekbones. Anyways, we need to end this episode.
Yes. If once again, I'll throw it out there. If you do want to get a hold of us, you can hit up facebook.com, Top Shelf Pod. Almost got through it. Where you can comment on our episodes, as well as check out Lindsay and Colin doing their Top Shelf podcast, which is the Oscars Best Picture winners. They've been going
for those of you
backwards.
For those of you who have been who have recently joined the Facebook page, because I know there's been some new likes recently. Mm-hmm. If you don't realize, that's what happens. Our show comes out every Wednesday. Colin and Lindsay's comes out generally on Mondays. It just depends upon their schedule. They've been doing them recently a little more frequently. So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
just
that's
wanted
okay.
To get that out there.
I will make a point, and Jeff and I are going to do our best to, if we have to skip a week again, we will offer up some content for you guys so we don't leave you hanging for a week wondering where we are. We have been getting some new listenership, and it's great. I appreciate all these new listeners coming in to here and checking out some of our other podcasts, so the least we can do is stay consistent with you guys.
Yes, which for here on out, for quite some time, at least for me, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. I should be around more often so I shouldn't be skipping anything.
Jeff, there's a good chance I may be around more than I am right now in the coming weeks.
How is that?
I might be making a trip to
We get to do another episode in person.
We do, yeah. Which it won't be our next one, but it could be in the next couple weeks. Jeff and I will be in the same room watching a movie together again.
Ooh, we get to be in the same room again.
Yes,
in silence.
Don't say anything. Do not react. You keep your mouth shut. But
Maybe what we should do for that one the next time you're in here is maybe we should record a running commentary for the movie and bank that as a future episode. I don't know. We'll think about it.
So, but what is next for us?
Well, next on the list, so we're actually going to jump 4 years between Robin Hood and our next film for the 1977 The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
Ah, yes, which, you know what this is, Jeff?
What?
This is a hashtag package film.
Oh, no. They've returned.
It's
so exciting.
The Winnie the Pooh had shorts before a bunch of the Disney features in the past 10 years leading up to it. And they, I don't know if it's 10, but the years leading up to it. So they collected all of them and released a feature film.
That is awesome. Yeah, I was gonna say, because looking at the years, so the next one came out in March of '77. The movie after that is The Rescuers, which came out in June of '77.
Yes, so we've returned to package films.
You know, TC, I thought we were done with them in the 40s. I thought we had seen the last one.
There you go.
Even though I do remember us talking about having that Adventures of the Winnie the Pooh was a package film and that we would get to it when we got to it. I do remember that now.
For those of you who may try to get a hold of this to watch it, make sure you watch The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, because there is a second Winnie the Pooh movie which came out in the past 10 years. So make sure you're watching the correct Winnie the Pooh feature film.
The correct version,
and not any of the straight-to-DVD or theatrically released sequels like Pooh's Heffalump movie or the Tigger movie or Piglet's Big movie. None of those.
Or the television show that ran from 1988 to 91 called The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
Was that the creepy live-action one?
No, this is still the animated one.
All right.
But
we'll discuss.
I know the creepy one.
We'll discuss Winnie the Pooh next week. So, thank you everybody for listening.
Thank you guys for listening. We're glad to be back again, and we will see you all next time. TC, what is the sign-out message?
This is a sign-off.
I really love that sign-off. That's a great sign-off.
See you next week, everybody.
Bye, everybody. This has been a production of Ghost Hat Media, proud member of the Ghost Hat Network. Find them online at www.ghosthat.net.
I like the ending.
We should write lyrics for the Top Shelf opening bit.
This is the Top Shelf Pod. Cast where we talk about Disney movies between the two.
Oh, that's going to be in the episode.